This is really an important lecture. This time we're going to talk about branding, and we're going to open with a definition of branding. Let's go to work. If you get on the internet or read a book about branding, what you're going to find out is branding is considered the total customer experience. When everything's said and done, how does a customer feel about the experience of doing business with you? Was it positive? Now, I've found that for the most part, a small business person can't worry about something quite as ethereal as a total customer experience. The reality is you're probably more concerned about who's going to be on the register this afternoon than you are about the total customer experience. So I like to concentrate on something a little more basic, your image and how you project that image to the customer. And that's really what we're going to define as branding for the purposes of this video. Now, the most obvious thing when it comes to that type of branding is your logo. Your logo needs to be consistent. It needs to have the same colors across all of your various platforms. And we talked about that quite a bit in spaced repetition. You may want to go back and watch that video. But in general, I'll show you this. Here's some logos from various companies that you've seen, and these logos don't change. They'll be the same in the 1950s as they are in the 2010s. That's because we know that branding, burning an image into your customer's mind, is terribly important. I know you've heard me talk about consistency in your logos before, and I'm going to talk about it some more again later. But first, I want to share a story with you. I've mentioned earlier in this series that I have a mentor, David Wright. And David Wright likes to tell a particular story. You see, for those of you who don't live in the U.S., the United States is a huge country. You can drive from the left coast to the right coast, and it takes more than 3 days at interstate speed. So, on our 3-day trip, our family is driving along and it's getting lunchtime. And the kids are hungry, so they go up the exit ramp and they decide they're going to have a hamburger for lunch. It's an American thing. And they get to the end of the exit ramp. Off on this side, there's a place named Buddy Boys. On the other side, McDonald's. Now, I'll tell you a secret. Buddy Boys has the best hamburgers in the entire region. I mean, they only use the center slice of the tomatoes. The onions, absolutely fresh. The farmer brings them in from the fields. The beef isn't just rare black Angus, it's red Angus. You actually have to add a little oil to the hamburger meat before you can fry it because it's so rare. This is crisp, wet, cold iceberg lettuce. It is the best hamburger you can get, and it's right there. It's at Buddy Boys. Now, don't forget, across the way here, there's a McDonald's. But don't count McDonald's out in this particular exercise. You see, McDonald's has some things going for them. Number one, our family knows McDonald's. They know these guys. They've never heard of Buddy Boys. Who's Buddy anyway? So the McDonald's, we know the restaurant's going to be clean. We know the restroom or toilet, WC, is also going to be clean. And despite what you may think of McDonald's, you've never heard of roaches coming out of their food. And the price is good. They're going to give that meal to you right away. So McDonald's has a lot of things on their side, but mostly it's because of branding. You see, our family knows Buddy Boys from nowhere, and they know what they're going to get at that McDonald's. They know exactly what they're going to get. So the choice here is much simpler. The family has no idea what they've just missed out on. And I guarantee you, because of branding, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go to McDonald's and pass by the best hamburger they ever would have had. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about branding because McDonald's doesn't really drive a lot of their branding with emotion, but there are some very good places who use emotion as part of their branding. Let's start with the Save the Children website. They're trying to evoke particular emotions. Look at the photographs of the young children on the homepage of the site. Clearly, they are going to accomplish this by making you feel for these children. Let's take an example from the opposite end of the spectrum. Here's a rock band from Boston. Notice the colors they pick and the images, some of which could best be described as quite disturbing. Here is a tourism-based example, and we know how these folks want us to feel if we use their product. You know you're going to have a great time out on the river, and this company has been consistent throughout their branding. I'd like to go back to that textbook definition of branding for just a moment. You see, I have a customer in New England who owns a small restaurant, and branding is absolutely killing them. As a matter of fact, they want to sell that restaurant sometime this summer if they can. And I can tell you exactly why. It's branding. Branding is their problem. You may also want to insert the word reputation. If you go on TripAdvisor or Yelp or any of these review sites, what you'll find out about this particular place is people will go to the restaurant 3 or 4 times, have a wonderful experience. They'll get on, write glowing reviews, 4 stars, 5 stars, and then the very next review right behind it, 1 star. Why? Because that person went in, they sat there for 30 minutes before the waitress ever shows up. The food was another 20 minutes getting there. It didn't matter how good the meal was. By the time they got the food, it was already done. And that is causing these folks to go out. Now they're motivated. You see, people who have a decent meal, they're not motivated. So these guys are motivated. They're going on these review sites. They're writing mixed reviews. One is great, the next one's awful, and their branding is killing them. So you can see from this that consistency in your product is terribly important. It will, and it has in this case, it will put you out of business. Pay attention to your branding, to the total customer experience. That's going to do it for this particular lecture. Coming up next time, one of my pet peeves, compelling text. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.